Hey there. So if you've ever wanted to tell a story, share what you did over the weekend or just talk about yesterday in European Portuguese, then you are in exactly the right spot. Today we're going to unlock the single most important tool for talking about the past.
So, really, think about it for a second. To answer this simple question in Portuguese, you need one specific tool in your toolbox. And I promise, by the end of this, you're going to have it.
Okay, so the official name is the Pretérito Perfeito Simples. Now, that sounds super official, right? A bit intimidating, but don't get hung up on the name. Seriously, all it means is simple past tense. It's for actions that are done, finished, over with. You already do this constantly in English when you say things like I worked, she ate, or they left. Same idea.
So, how does it actually work? Well, the beautiful thing about Portuguese is that it's a system. And for most verbs, there's a predictable code. 3 simple patterns that will let you talk about the past with total confidence. So, let's crack this code together.
Pretty much all regular verbs in Portuguese end in one of 3 ways: ar, or ir. Think of them like 3 big families. To send them back in time, all you have to do is chop off their original ending and swap it for a special past tense one. Let's see exactly what those endings are.
All right, let's dive right into our first family, verbs that end in ar, like falar, which means to speak. Now look at the table. The main part of the verb, fall, it stays exactly the same. The magic is in the ending. For I, you just add a, and you get falei. For he or she, you add o, so it becomes falou. And the pattern just keeps going for we, falamos, and they, falarum. This is your first core pattern. Okay, you've got the first pattern down. Now let's look at family number 2, the ER verbs, like comer, to eat. See how we've got a whole new set of endings here? For I, it's a super simple e, giving you comi. For he or she, it's iu, becoming comeu. And you can see the endings for we and they, comemos and comerum. You're starting to see the system, right? Different family, different set of endings.
And here's our final piece of the puzzle for regular verbs, the ER family, like abrir, to open. And I've got some great news for you. The endings for these verbs are almost identical to the ER verbs we just looked at. For I, it's still just o-i, so you get abri. For we, it's imos, for abrimos. The pattern is so similar, which honestly makes this last family way easier to remember.
All right, so we've got the theory, we've got the patterns, but what does this look like in the real world? Let's put this code to work in some actual sentences. This is where it really starts to make sense.
Check this out. The verb troublar, to work, becomes troublé for I worked. Remember our first pattern? You take an R verb, and for I, you tack on that AE ending. Boom, there it is. Simple as that.
Let's do another one. Here, the verb is escrever, an ER verb. For she, or ela, we just look back at our second pattern and see the ending is eu. So it becomes escreveu. Ela escreveu. See? The system just works.
And what's cool about this example is you can see 2 different verbs from the same family working together in one sentence. Comer, to eat, and beber, to drink, are both ER verbs. The ending for they is eram, so you get comeram and beberam. You can see how quickly you can start building more interesting sentences.
Okay, now let's imagine you're actually in a conversation. Someone might ask you this question using the you form.
And look at this reply. It's just one word, falei. You don't even have to say, yes, I spoke with him. That one little word contains all that meaning. It's so efficient and it sounds completely natural.
Okay, let's try one more just to really lock it in. Someone asks if you had breakfast. The verb is tomar, an R verb. And again, your reply is just one perfectly formed word, tomei. It's clean, it's simple, and it's exactly how a native speaker would answer.
Okay, so we've learned the individual patterns, and we've seen them in little examples. Now let's combine everything and actually tell a short story. Let's see how all these verbs string together to describe a whole day.
So to really see this in action, we're going to follow a woman named Anna through her Sunday. We're going to see how all these little verbs come together to paint a picture of her day. Each thing she did is a finished action that uses this simple past tense.
All right, let's walk through Anna's day. In the morning, she tomou breakfast. That's a classic AR verb, right? She also follow with friends, another one from that first family. Now, you'll also spot a couple of common verbs in here like lel and oviu.
that are actually irregular. They don't follow our patterns exactly, but you see them all the time. The main thing, though, is that every single one of these actions is a completed event in our day, which is the whole point of this tense.
So, we've covered a ton of ground. We've gone through the 3 patterns and seen them in action. So what's the big takeaway here? What do you absolutely need to remember from all of this? Let's boil it all down.
Okay, here it is, the absolute key. If you only remember one thing from today, make it the endings for the I form. It's really just 2 endings you have to memorize for all 3 verb families. It's AE for the R verbs, and then it's just I for both the AR and the IR verbs. That's it. Master that, and you've unlocked the most important part of the code. This is your foundation.
And that brings us right back to where we started. You now have the tools. You have the code. So I want you to think of just one thing you did last week. Did you work? Trabajé. Did you eat something interesting? Comí. Did you open a window? Abrí. The code to talk about your own past is now in your hands. So, what will you say?